first is going to be, because this is completely separate to the outer shell. Welcome everyone to the Echo Mike channel. Now, for those of you continuing to watch and support the channel, thank you so much. But for everyone who is new, welcome to the channel. Here we take military fieldcraft skills and apply them to a civilian setting, while also going over thoughts, chats and philosophies about being good men and women. Now today it is winter time, quite clearly, so we're going to talk about the use of tents for winter time. I'm also going to do some general talking about the kit that I'm wearing. So with that, let's set up this Second Arrow SO tent and see what it's about. So to set up the tent, I'm simply in a wide open area to demonstrate what we're going to be doing. This video is not going to be necessarily about how to set this up, but the Second Arrow SO is a very interesting design. It's designed for mountaineering, lightweight camping. It's extremely tough, and it uses some pretty clever design features that we're going to go over. The first of which is going to be the direction of the wind. The Arrow is designed for wind to go up and over it, being an expedition tent. This is for, I believe, 2 to 3 people. So really with equipment, you're looking at a 1-person shelter. Now the wind today is blowing more or less from this direction inward. So we're going to be orientating the tent correctly for that. So with that, let's might do a time lapse on this, but let's get into actually setting up this shelter. You see I've ditched the rifle. I would have it on my chest, clipped to me for use today. If I decide to talk, the mic's not going to rattle or get any sort of interference. We're out here enjoying the day, and luckily there's no enemy forces, we think, around. So hopefully I won't need to use that rifle, but if I do, it is right there. So with that, let's get into it. Now, the first thing I like to do when setting up any sort of tent is getting a good flat area. I like to get my tent bag, especially in snow. Oftentimes I'll put them upside down. This one is kind of open, so I'll put that upside down and I'll put the tent pegs on top. Now the Second Arrow design is a little bit unique because it doesn't use traditional methods to put it up. You've got poles and then you've got these pegs, and what it does is it has a kind of an overlayer shelter, and there's got an internal shelter, and guidelines are used to make that structure. It also, what's really cool about it is when we set it up, it uses the tension of 3 external lines to build the shelter itself, using those poles as 2 center ridgeline supports. So right now we have the back of the tent facing towards the camera because that's the direction the wind's coming. So now we have the tent laid out, we're now gonna install our poles. The poles that come with this tent are really nice. They're extremely strong. They've got these long extenders. Nice tight bungee, clip right together. Now one thing that I will say is if you're gonna use this tent, especially in the winter time, I had this sitting in my garage, and I brought it out to use it, and the poles were warm, so when it hit the dry snow, it melted the surface of the snow, and then it refroze. So what happened was, it attracted almost like static fur, all these snow particles, they got inside the tent, and they actually were freezing as I was putting up the tent. So if you're doing this in an expedition environment, just be aware of that. Now the Second Arrow, being a almost semicircle conical design, you can try to get it as flat as possible like I'm doing now, guiding these through. but you're going to get this. So it's going to kind of get tangled at the end there, and just something to be aware of, and that's because of the actual shape and design of this shelter. Just keep feeding it through till she pokes out the other end. There she is. And then I hate it when this happens, when these bungees come undone. You've got to re-find it, reconnect them. There you go. So that was actually a lot better than most tents I've dealt with. And with the price tag of this tent, and I think pushing $600-700, you would expect that. But what's nice is you don't need to baby it. Okay, so now that one's in, we're good to go there. Now we're going to put the second one in. So the reason you want to do this, yeah, see what I mean? Snow sticks. The reason you don't want to stake in this tent before you do this is just because of the shape that you'll see. You cannot thread these through if it's staked down. So you've got to thread them before you can stake it. If you're in windy conditions, I would use your pack or your webbing or maybe a rifle on top of it to try to control that wind. The thread holes, there you go, can be kind of awkward to find. If there was one improvement, I would put little orange sewing tabs on the thread holes, or maybe even sew on your own little like reflective orange tabs. They're on the inside of the tent, so it won't affect the camouflage. But what that will do is that you can find them in an easy manner. That one went right through there. Happy days. So now we got the supports in, we're going to simply stake in this one point at the back. And I brought a hammer with me because the ground is frozen. It just makes life a whole lot easier. There you go. Gonna insert those into there. Stake this guy in the ground, get him nice and tight. It's just an absolutely beautiful day out. We've had tons of really nasty weather lately, so it's nice to get out, you know. Do some adventure training, or whatever you want to call it, because it's you know, it's fun. All right, she's in. Gonna get this nice and tight now. Again, I'm pulling 45-degree angles. Rules of 45s when it comes to tents, I find work very well. And there you have it. So now what I'm going to do is, again, you'll notice I didn't stake this one. I staked the rear because, again, wind direction. This is where the wind would pick it up and float it. So I want to stake this down initially. Put this guy who's not staked down, because then you can adjust it. You can adjust these feet here that dig quite nicely into the snow. And now I'm going to stake those down for good measure. All right, let's go check it out. The Second Arrow SO tent. Beautiful day today. Right there. So you can see you've got two stakes here, guidelines for torque, and you have your one ridge pole and your second ridge pole here, and that's what's providing the structure. You can see here we've got these plastic feet, and they work almost like little sleds. See those in there? So you're not staking into ground, but this becomes part of the structure. You can see there's a line under here. that runs fully underneath the tent and helps build that structure. We're going to go inside. I'm going to show you what I mean by that further. Again, at the rear, we have our rear feet. Again, got that line providing that structure. At the rear here, you can see the design coming to its own. So the wind would come up like so, and then it's going to go around the shelter. And because there's a shelter inside here, you're going to really see how it works. Like, the whole point of this is to redirect. So wherever your wind is, you point it into the wind. Very low profile. I love the color on this. You could easily camouflage it. You could do what you need to. You can put camo over it, camo netting, and it would blend in beautifully, which we'll do a whole overnight in this very soon. So here you go. So right now we're in the entrance of the SO tent, and I'll show you guys is when you get inside, you've got all these lines that you've got to tighten, and that's going to tighten the internal structure. So I just went around and tightened those up. So let's bring you guys around and see what this has to offer, and I'm very impressed with it. So far. So I've used this, I've set up a few times in summer. This is my second time doing it in the snow. The first time it was freezing up and it was like absolutely bloody cold, and I was actually a very busy day that day. I tried to film. So what I did was got it out, let it freeze, tried to set it up, and I was like, you know what, this is actually a good test. Let me bring it back inside. Didn't put it back into its container, kind of just scrumpled it up, laid it out, let it dry in my garage, and then came out with it again here. So yeah, we got it out now. Far more beautiful day for me to actually talk. So yeah, let's bring you guys around and take a look at how this works and what the inside's like. Right now we've come around to the entrance of the Second Arrow SO tent. You'll see here we have these guidelines, and this runs on the inside of the tent. We have an external structure. Well, this is what forms our internal structure. So what you do is you tighten these up once you've staked your pegs, and that's going to apply tension on the two front sides, which is going to build our internal shelter. So with that, let's get inside, see what it's about, see how much room this offers you, and talk about it. Now I'm on the inside of the Arrow. So what we can see is we have this outer shell, but also this internal one. What I really like about this design is, one, how spacious it is. So I can pretty much almost fully erect myself. I'm 5'10", 180 pounds, and I can almost, lift up, do work. You're not crouched over inside the tent. The second thing is you have this nice area right here just outside the internal shelter for equipment. Honestly, I would be comfortable with a small gas cooker right there, keeping out of the wind. When it comes to the internal frame, we've got a few really interesting things going on. So the first is going to be, because this is completely separate to the outer shell, it's protected. A lot of tents, they don't keep enough distance. So if you get really high winds, really heavy rain, it's going to start to permeate this inner shelter. This seems like it can withstand some sort of waterproofing of its own. You've got a lovely hammock up here for drying equipment. You've got other little mesh pockets on the side. And what's really nice is all the zippers are actually double zipped. So this main door here has a double zip, so I can zip it down if I so choose. We'll zip this side. And now I can open up sections. Again, your typical bug net, which is an absolute must in the Northeast. But what we can do is we can actually do partial zips like this, and that applies for both sides. So there's also one of these in the back that we can open up. Let's open this up here. You've got tons of toggles all around this thing that can be used to hold open that door also. I said this wasn't going to be a review of the tent, but I guess it is now. So going over the tent, what it has to offer, one of the best features I love about it is going to be this internal bucket. So essentially you've got an outer shell and then you've got this internal bucket, and because it's a bucket, it's not a flat surface, it keeps all the snow, all the mud, all the dirt out. That is a big deal for me. I love clean equipment. That's something that's really, really important to me. So let's get you inside. We'll show you guys a little bit more of the inside, and then we'll come back out and talk about the use of something like this for tactical scenarios, prepared citizens, and just general camping. So why would you buy something like this? Why would you spend so much money on a tent when you can go to Walmart? Well, I don't need to tell you guys, quality is key when it comes to this equipment, and this is no different. This tent was designed for expeditions. If you're out using this tent, you're gonna want to have a good one. The fact that you're fighting to put these ridge lines in and knowing that it's a good quality material means that it isn't going to rip and tear, and that for me is huge. If I'm spending the time, money, calories to carry this thing out into the field, I need to know that it's going to perform, and that means buying a quality tent. Shitty tents suck when you have traveled hours or days to get somewhere just to set them up and they absolutely fail. Another thing I like about this is that it offers full protection from the environment. It can be easily camouflaged, and with this internal tent design, we're going to look at it under thermal with camouflage, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to do a pretty good job at thermal mitigation also for those sorts of threats. Having the internal bucket system means that everything's kept clean and dry, and that's going to be crucial if you're in a winter environment because your gear is going to get wet. You need a portable shelter to keep your equipment dry. A tarp might be good for a night or two, but if it's going to be longer term, you're definitely going to want a piece of gear like this. So is it worth the wait? Is it worth the money? I think depending on the mission, it absolutely is. If you could probably fit another guy in here. I would say this is a comfortable individual tent, but you could definitely fit 2 guys and equipment inside. So is it worth the wait? I'll put the weight down here. Again, I think it depends on the mission, like anything, but I would say it is worth it. This is a fantastic bit of equipment. I absolutely love this thing so far and can't wait to have more adventures with it. I think it's worth it. I love the colors on this too. You've got this beautiful coyote brown, you've got the dark grays. It's really hard to sometimes find quality civilian equipment that is in just subbed colors, and this tent is fantastic. I really love the coloration on it. This internal part is this coyote brown, and then the outer part is obviously an OD green. It's great quality, and for the shelter it provides, better rest, out of the elements, you're going to be refreshed the next day. I mean, this thing was literally designed to do serious expeditions and mountaineering, so I think it is fantastic either for a weekend away with the family during the summertime or a more arduous mission, whatever that might entail. So, is your tarp good enough? Yeah, I'd say for a night out if you are trained, but if you want the extra protection, you can't go wrong. And if you're in a team, I wouldn't carry this as an individual, but if you've got a team, I would definitely recommend a piece of equipment like this. You can use your gas stoves, you can tend to your gear, shit gets frozen, and you really need a tent for winter conditions. Again, you can survive without it, but I personally would not recommend that. So with that, guys, I wanted to just do a little talk about the tents. Today I'm running the Crossfire DZ rig. We'll grab that here. So yeah, I got the Crossfire rig right here. It's fantastic webbing rig, absolutely love it also, and it pairs really nicely with something like this when you're doing lots of field operations. Rifle, I've switched things up a little bit. I've got an Elcan British Military OS4 variant on there. So this is actually the LDS derived from the OS4, and I'm trying it out. I've always been an ACOG guy. I love fixed magnification, tough optics. So you guys will be getting a review on that guy, this guy here, and also I'll be doing a video on why I love fixed magnification, tough optics like the ACOG so much. Lots of exciting stuff happening with the channel, guys. We're going to be dropping some projects and products that I've been working very hard on here very soon. I know you've all been asking how to support the channel. I know you guys want t-shirts. I know you want merch. The problem with that, just being honest, is you have to buy so many in order to make even like break even. I mean, you've got to spend thousands of dollars. And right now I'm investing my money into projects for you guys elsewhere. So I would rather present a product that is new to the market and you guys can use and utilize rather than merch and a t-shirt. So that's why I haven't been holding off those things, but I've been investing my money with that. Guys, I pay for all this shit myself. It's all my time that I'm given. I don't ask you guys for anything. I know you guys know that, but for those who are new here, that's how we do on the channel. We don't take sponsorships. I don't read off scripts. It's purely donation of my time, energy, and all the great things in this community. So, guys, yeah, really exciting things coming. Gonna be really excited for 2025. It's gonna be an insanely busy year. I have a ton going on, but I will do my best, as always, to bring you quality content that is different, that you guys can all learn something, and that we can learn off each other. So if you have advice on tents or products that you enjoy or methods of staying out in the winter that you'd like to share below, please go ahead and do that in the comment section. As I said, really excited to drop some products with you guys. That'll be happening very soon. I'll be doing a whole release drop video on that. So again, I could have done merch months ago. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I feel that to reflect this channel, we give you guys quality, and I want to give you guys something quality in return. So it's not about making money for me. I've been doing this free of charge for over a year now. But I would feel a lot better if I actually used my training, my knowledge to develop something that you guys can actually use, and then obviously money in return for that. Unfortunately, I can't break even on everything in life. So I know you guys are going to love it. I know you guys are going to enjoy it, and I'm super excited about that. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. So far, I'm super impressed with the Second Arrow SO tents for wintertime and expeditions and prepared citizens. I think you definitely need to get one, and if you're going to spend the money, like anything, buy once, cry once. All right, guys, as always, look after your mates, look after each other. For closing thoughts today, I don't want to call it the dad advice of the channel, but at all my videos I do a closing thoughts. Don't be scared to slow down and enjoy life. Sometimes life isn't about making money. Sometimes we think that it's about an end goal, but sometimes it's about just living in that moment and enjoying and experiencing the things that we're doing. How do you know that what you're doing is right? Well, if you miss it, if it sucks while you're doing it, but you miss it when you're not doing it, that's how you know. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.